It's alright, no worries. Sorry. Don't worry, you'll only see your lower half. So we have some members of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, or at least attendees of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, coming out after the service. And I was just shooting some photos and videos of my picket signs and chalk slogans. So you don't seem to want to be in the video. Anywho, it is the 9th of August, 2015, in front of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, engaged in my alternative spiritual practice of protesting against Unitarian Universalist injustices, abuses, and hypocrisy, with a particular emphasis on Unitarian Universalist clergy abuse and Unitarian Universalist cover-up and denial of clergy abuse. And, you know, even more specifically, the fact that the Unitarian Universalist Association in Boston, the Reverend Dr. Peter Morales administration, hired Stikeman Elliott Barristers and Solicitors litigation lawyer, Maitre Marc-André Coulombe, to falsely accuse me of the criminal act of blasphemous libel on the unfounded, aka untrue, aka false basis that I'd allegedly made unfounded and vicious allegations to the effect that ministers of the association engage in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. It's alright, you won't be seen, I'll just, you'll just see your feet. And so getting back to things, you know, I was falsely accused of the criminal act of blasphemous libel for allegedly making unfounded and vicious allegations about Unitarian Universalist pedophiles and rapists. Well, the only problem with that, well, there's actually a few problems with that, but the first problem with that is I haven't made any unfounded allegations about Unitarian Universalist pedophiles and rapists. I was very, very careful to only blog about cases where Unitarian Universalists had actually been convicted of such despicable crimes as pedophilia and or rape. So I didn't blog about cases where nobody had actually been convicted, you know. I didn't blog any unsubstantiated rumors and so on. I didn't even blog about cases that essentially are, you know, lots of credible testimony, but where people haven't actually been convicted. I blogged about cases where people are actually convicted, you know, in order to protect myself from being accused of ordinary libel. I mean, I didn't even know there was such a thing as blasphemous libel. I had no idea that Canada had a blasphemy law. But nonetheless, you know, on Friday, June 1st of 2012, I received an email which had a PDF file of a paper document that I was later served with by a bailiff. I was actually very happy to go and get it. You know, in which the Unitarian Universalist Association accused me of blaspheming against the Unitarian Universalist religion, or perhaps blaspheming against Unitarian Universalist pedophiles and rapists. Yes, being mildly sarcastic there. You know, for blogging about Unitarian Universalist pedophiles and rapists. Now, as I said, you know, the biggest problem is that the pretext was simply false. I had not made any unfounded and vicious allegations, and I could easily prove that, and I did prove that to Maitre Coulombe relatively quickly. But it's actually kind of funny, because what actually did happen is, you know, I knew that the cases that I had blogged about were about people who were actually convicted of pedophilia and or rape. You know, one of them was a pedophile rapist. One of them was convicted of raping children who were no older than 12 years old at the times that the rapes took place, and might have been as young as 6. certainly were somewhere between 9 and 12 years old. There's absolutely no question about that. You know, when the rapes took place, this guy was 50-something. He raped a neighbor's daughter. He also raped a female family member. In fact, there's allegations that he raped more than one female family member, but the statute of limitations had run out on the earlier cases. But it's pretty clear that the female family member who he was convicted of raping was either a granddaughter or a grandniece or something like that, because of the age difference. You know, we're talking somewhere between, well, we'll be generous and say between 9 and 12. We won't bother going as low as 6. And he was in his mid-50s, you know, at the times the rapes took place. That makes him a pedophile rapist in my books. So anyway, getting back to things, you know, I knew that my allegations were not unfounded at all. I wrote back to Maitre Colombe telling him, you know, that I couldn't find any blog posts that matched his description of unfounded and vicious allegations, the effect that ministers of the association engage in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. You know, could he please clearly identify exactly which blog post he was talking about? You know, could he provide a title or a date or URL or something, you know, so that I could go and look at the blog post that he was referring to and decide, you know, how to deal with his accusation. Well, he actually wrote back very arrogantly saying that my claims not to be able to find such blog posts were not credible. In other words, calling me a liar, saying that, you know, I was basically lying to him, saying I couldn't find the blog post. So I had to write back to Maitre Colombe and explain to him, well, no, actually, you know, I do know where I wrote about cases of pedophilia and rape. I do know where I wrote about Unitarian Universalists who I described as, you know, pedophiles or rapists or even a pedophile rapist. But these people were actually convicted of such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. You need to tell me which blog posts, you know, you believe or you represent to contain unfounded and vicious allegations to the effect that ministers of the association engage in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. And guess what? I never heard from Maitre Marc-Andre Coulombe again. That was the second and last letter that he wrote to me, and I never heard, you know, he never in any way explained anything. He never formally withdrew his accusation as I have demanded he did. He never apologized. No, he just let the whole thing drop, as did the UUA. Just pretended it never happened. So, you know, here we are protesting against the fact that Unitarians misuse Canada's blasphemy law to cover up clergy abuse. Being polite here, because I didn't put the pedophilia and rape on the sidewalk, just the broader term clergy abuse. Thank you for trying to save the chalk. The guy was deftly leaping through my slogan so as not to mar it. Anyway, my sensor's overheating, so I can't yammer on. But I think we've covered things in considerable detail. So we're going to let the sensor cool down. We're going to shut off the camera now, or very soon. But yeah, just quickly here. Well, no, there's the sign. You can read it. I can explain it later. So again, it is Sunday the 9th of August, and this is nearing the end of my protest today against Unitarian Universalist misuse of Canada's blasphemy law to cover up and deny pedophilia and rape, and also my protest against the fact that the Gazette's so-called justice reporter, Sue Montgomery, never reported the UUA's immoral, unethical, borderline criminal, and yes, batshit crazy misuse of Canada's blasphemy law in Bill Cosby style clergy abuse cover-up legal bullying. That's it for now.